Imagine a life where, no matter what happens, you remain calm. When others panic, you stay clear-minded. When others are easily offended, you maintain your rationality. This is not about becoming numb to emotions, but about the ability to control them. Many people believe that mental strength means never feeling sad, afraid, or angry, but that's a misconception. Mental strength is the ability to manage your emotions and stay composed even in the face of extreme fear. Unfortunately, most of us were never taught how to manage emotions or build mental resilience. As a result, we grow up to be individuals who are easily hurt, quick to give up, and trapped in negative thought patterns. But that's not your fault. It's simply because you haven't trained for it yet. In this video, we'll learn how to train the mind to become stronger and more unshakable. We'll explore techniques from Stoicism, psychology, and science to help you control your emotions, build mental resilience, and overcome any challenge in life. So make sure to watch until the end, because every point in this video can change the way you see the world. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel right now. Now let's start with the most fundamental element, learning to control your emotions. Number 1, control your emotions. No one is immune to emotions. They are a natural part of being human. You will feel anxious before a big meeting. You will feel sad when someone turns their back on you. You will feel angry when treated unfairly. That is not wrong, but the problem begins when we let emotions dictate our actions. When we are angry, we say things that hurt. When we are afraid, we avoid. When we are sad, we give up. Stoic philosophy does not teach you to hide your emotions. It teaches you to face them, understand them, and not be dragged by them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was an emperor, but also a man who faced pressure, war, and loss. And instead of letting emotions lead, he learned to pause, reflect, and then act. You can do the same. When you feel a strong emotion rising, anger, envy, despair, pause for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is this emotion telling me? Does it reflect the truth? If I act on it, what will happen? Just a few questions like these shift you from being driven by emotion to observing it from the outside. That is a skill, and a skill can be trained. A simple way to start. Next time someone hurts you, don't react immediately. Count from 1 to 5 in your head. Exhale. Then ask yourself, what is the best response right now? That small act is already changing your life, from living by emotion to living by values. Stoicism doesn't make you cold, it makes you steady. It helps you act not out of impulse, but out of reason. Because in the end, the one who controls their emotions controls themselves. Number 2, mental recovery. When your body is tired, you go to sleep. But when your mind is exhausted, you often try to ignore it, telling yourself, it'll be fine. No, it won't be fine, unless you actively recover. We live in a world of constant mental drain, overwhelming information, relentless expectations, endless comparisons. Each day, your mind is like a door being knocked on nonstop. If you don't shut it to rest, it will break. Epictetus once said, "Nothing is yours except your mind. Take care of it like a treasure." Yet we allow others to enter it freely, through a negative comment, a cold glance, a haunting message. Don't let these small things occupy your energy. The first step to mental recovery is turning down the noise. Be selective about what you take in. Not every piece of news needs to be known. Not every voice needs to be heard. Sometimes turning off your phone is the kindest thing you can do for yourself. The second step is to sit with yourself. Even just 10 minutes, let your mind breathe. No sounds, no tasks, no pretending to be strong. That's not weakness. That's recharging your willpower. Marcus Aurelius, even in his final years, spent each morning writing in his journal. He called it clearing the mind before entering the battlefield. You have your own battlefield: work, family, the past. Prepare your mind before you fight. The third step, talk less. Every word you say is a leak of energy. No need to explain too much. No need to please everyone. Let silence be your refuge. The one who recovers their mind is the one who keeps themselves intact in a chaotic world. Not exploding from anger, not losing themselves to fatigue. They are not invincible, but they know when to step back to regenerate, and then they return, clearer, stronger, more self-possessed. Recovery is not escape, it is preparation, because anyone who wants to go far must know when to stop and refuel. Number 3, self-discipline. No one wakes up with innate discipline. Discipline is built through small, repeated choices every day, even when you don't feel excited or motivated. People often think discipline means forcing yourself to do things you hate. But for those who understand its value, discipline is the voluntary choice to do the hard thing because it leads to a more meaningful life. As Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, do what needs to be done, whether you like it or not. That doesn't mean turning yourself into a cold machine. It means not letting fleeting emotions decide your long-term future. Discipline doesn't start with strong willpower. It starts by redesigning your environment and behaviors. Because dopamine, the neurotransmitter that drives motivation, doesn't only come from big rewards, but from a clear system of habits. For example, if you want to wake up early, don't just set an alarm. Go to bed early, keep your phone away from the bed, and place a glass of water by your side. When actions are easy to access, your brain doesn't need to spend much energy deciding. James Clear once said, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." A disciplined person doesn't live by inspiration, they live by schedule. That's why Epictetus emphasized, don't explain what a good person should be one. Stoics don't wait for emotions to cooperate. They make decisions based on reason and repeat the right actions until they become second nature. When you see someone persistent, it doesn't mean they're always strong. It means they've removed 90% of the situations that would tempt them to quit. If you give up easily whenever you're tired, it's not your fault. It's because you don't have a support system. You haven't set boundaries, designed your space, or broken down your goals into simple enough steps to maintain. Discipline isn't about fighting yourself. It's about understanding yourself well enough to build a path that fits. You don't need to wait for motivation to start. You need to start in order to generate motivation. And you need a system clear enough to carry you through even when every emotion says, stop. True discipline is when you still act, even if your mind doesn't want to. That's when you stop being a victim of old habits and become the master of your life. Number 4, neuroplasticity, retraining the brain. You are not stuck with old ways of thinking. Your brain is not made of stone, it's clay. Every thought you repeat carves a deeper neural trace. Every behavior you reinforce opens a new pathway in the brain. This is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and restructure itself. This is not some distant theory. It's a real opportunity. You can teach yourself how to think, how to react, and how to live. But neuroplasticity doesn't happen just because you understand it. It only happens when you practice with intention. As Epictetus once said, no man becomes wise by merely reading, he must apply it daily. Want to stop self-criticism? Practice positive self-talk each morning. Want to stop fearing failure? Gradually expose yourself to small risks and learn to respond calmly. Your brain doesn't need to be perfect to change. It just needs persistence and meaningful repetition. Imagine a forest where you've walked the same path for 10 years. Those are the old thoughts. I'm not good enough. I'll fail again. No one really cares. You can't erase that path instantly, but you can start creating a new trail. I'm learning to improve. Mistakes are stepping stones. I'm responsible for my reactions. At first it'll be hard. Your brain will go back to the old path because it's familiar. But every time you choose again, every time you pause to reshape your thought instead of reacting automatically, you're widening the new path. That is neuroplasticity in action. The Stoics knew this thousands of years ago, even without brain scans or scientific terms. They taught us, don't try to change the world if you haven't learned to change your perspective. When you learn to see challenges as opportunities, when you pause to choose a response over a reflex, you are rewiring your brain towards strength. The most remarkable part is, you are not limited by your past. Even if you've collapsed, lost control, or given up, your brain can still be retrained if you're willing to start with small steps. Not changing everything at once, but steadily training, day by day, action by action, choice by choice. This is not magic, it is science, and it is the power you already hold. Number 5, self-belief. No one can take away your self-belief unless you give it to them. Self-belief does not come from compliments, grand achievements, or external validation. It comes from consistency between what you think, what you do, and what you repeat every day. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good." In today's world, we're easily swept away by the gaze of others. Social media teaches us to compare. Success culture teaches us to doubt ourselves. But a person with inner strength does not define themselves by others. They define themselves by personal standards, core values, and the ability to keep promises to themselves. To do that, you must train a core skill: self-talk. It's how you speak to yourself when you fail, when you're tired, or when facing a difficult choice. If the voice in your head is judgmental, "I'm stupid," "I screwed up again," your brain will store those messages as commands. On the other hand, if you learn to reframe it as, "I was wrong, but what did I learn?" you are teaching your brain that it is safe to grow. Self-talk isn't about sugarcoating, it's truth plus compassion. Stoics never lull themselves into denial, but they also do not self-punish. Epictetus once said, "No one can harm you with words unless you agree with them." Self-belief is not born, it is built every time you keep a promise to yourself. Waking up on time, writing the number of lines you committed to, working out for even 10 minutes, not complaining when plans go wrong. These small victories strengthen one truth: you are trustworthy in your own eyes, and that's something no one can give you, nor take from you. Remember, the strong are not always certain. They are the ones who keep going despite doubt. They step forward even when their heart shakes. And with each step, their inner confidence is forged sharper than any affirmation from the outside world. Number 6, pain and stress. It's not what happens that hurts you, it's how you interpret it. This isn't a comforting phrase, but a truth proven by both philosophy and science. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Most people believe suffering comes from outside, an unexpected event, a betrayal, a sudden failure. But Stoics see it differently. They believe that it's the meaning we attach to an event that causes pain. This doesn't mean denying your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means understanding that between the event and your reaction, there is a space, and within that space lies your freedom. Those who grasp this do not let a careless comment ruin their entire day. They do not let a small failure spiral into deep self-doubt. Instead, they pause, observe, and ask, "How am I viewing this? Is there another way to see it?" When you shift your perspective, you don't erase the hardship. You reclaim your power. Stress doesn't come from work, financial pressure, or a full calendar. It comes from feeling powerless in the face of those things. And the opposite is also true. The moment you realize you have a choice, you begin to feel strong again. Roman soldiers didn't learn to avoid pain. They learned to name it for what it was, a signal, not a sentence. When you learn to see events as they are, without exaggeration, without emotional labels, you are practicing one of the highest forms of Stoicism, tranquility. Others may betray you, but you don't have to see yourself as a victim. A door may close, but you don't have to label it as failure. You can choose to view it as a redirection, a test of resilience, a chance to understand what you truly want. In that moment, pain is no longer the enemy. It becomes a teacher. Stress is no longer a burden. It becomes a signal to adjust. And suffering becomes fertile soil for growth if you're willing to water it with a new perspective. Number 7, conclusion. No life is entirely peaceful. No person is immune to setbacks, loss, or disappointment. But there is one thing you can always control: your response. Stoicism does not teach you to become numb. It teaches you to become clear-headed. It's not about avoiding emotions, but observing them honestly. Not about suppressing pain, but learning to transform it. Like water, able to bend to any shape, yet never losing its essence. When life throws you into chaos, you can choose to be soft yet strong. You don't need to win every battle. You only need to win the battle within, to not react impulsively, to not let the past dictate your present, to not let the world define your worth. Each day you can begin again. Each moment you can return to your inner center. This is a journey no one can walk for you, but no one needs to give you permission to start. Remember the words of Epictetus. It's not that things are easy that we have hope, but because we have hope, things become easier. You've learned strength isn't the absence of pain, but the choice to act despite it. You've seen emotions are signals, not commands. You've realized everything outside may shift, but if your inner foundation is firm, nothing can sweep you away. The journey doesn't begin with a grand lesson. It begins with a small step, a breath, a chosen thought, a recalibrated action. And if you continue that, day by day, little by little, you won't just exist, you'll live with intention. Not driven by emotion, but guided by wisdom. Not broken by life's blows, but shaped by them. Not needing a hard shell, but possessing a quiet, resilient core. That is the Stoic way of living. And that can be you, starting from this very moment.